Today I'm making deep fried battered mushrooms, and here are the ingredients that we need. I've got half a cup of flour, a half a cup of water. I've got my mushrooms here. These are portobello mushrooms. I have breadcrumbs at the bottom here. I also have a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And I also have 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper salt. And I'll just show you that right now. So that's this here. Hopefully the camera can pick it up. Where are we? Here we go. Alright. So this is just a blend, of garlic and pepper in a salt. So there we go. Everything's in one, which is kind of cool. Okay, so those are the ingredients. So let's get started. Alright, so let's start off with our batter. So I've just got a bowl here. I'm going to get in our water, and I have the flour here, so I'm going to get that in, and we'll start stirring that up. This is going to be a really simple batter. Okay, so I've got that here. I'm going to add in our garlic pepper salt. I'm also going to add in our cayenne. We'll get that moving. There we go. You can see it's getting a nice color to it. We'll just mix that up. There we go. And our baking powder. So I'll get that in there and I'll mix that up. So this is a very simple batter. Now I would change this batter. I'll do another recipe with deep fried mushrooms that I'm going to do without breadcrumbs, any kind of actual breading. So it'll just be a batter, and that'll be a totally different batter from this one. But there we go. So that's good. So that's our first step. So we've got that done. What we're going to do now is we're going to set up our oil, and we're going to get that heated up. So I've got my little hot plate here. I'm going to get my oil on here. This is vegetable oil, and I'm going to get this going. And I'm going to get this up to temperature. I'm going to zoom the camera out and I'll show you exactly what we're doing. I'll let that heat up and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, while my oil is heating up, I'm just going to take some of these mushrooms. I'm not going to use the whole package that I had. I'm just going to take them and I'm going to cut them down in size. These are really big, so I'm just going to make them a little smaller. If you get smaller ones, kind of like this size, just go ahead and just use them just like that. But I'm just going to cut these ones down. All depends on the package that you can find. I like to get smaller ones, but I couldn't find any tiny ones. So I'm just going to cut these up. There we go. And one more. And there we go. So I just want to show you, I've got my little breading station set up here. So we've got our mushrooms, we've got the batter, and we have our breadcrumbs. And you can use any kind of breadcrumbs that you want. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to dip them in here. We're going to go into the breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to place them on the plate. I'm going to get them all ready before we actually fry them. What I like to do sometimes is take some of my breadcrumbs and just put them in a little container like this. And it's just a little, like a little shaker. I've never seen anybody else do this, but I sometimes do things differently, and I just find it kind of fun, and it's easy to do if you don't want to get your hands too messy. So I'll show you how that works in a second. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop some of these in here. Instead of talking about it, let's just get it done. There we go. Okay. So just going to get them all nicely coated like this. Da-da-da. Now, I'm going to try to stay on camera here. I'm going to get this close, so you don't want to make too much of a mess. And then take them out of your batter, pop them into the breadcrumbs, and then just get your fingers in there. If you don't want to use your fingers, you can get yourself a little spoon and just spoon them, just like that. There you go. And then just pull it out. And there we go. There's our first one. And I'll show you the other way. Sometimes I do. If I've got something a little bit larger that I'm frying, so I might go like this and get it all kind of coated. And if I'm using something larger, what I'll do is I'll just take my little sprinkler and just sprinkle it on the top like that, and that works great too. So there we go. I'll show you that better in a second here. I'll just show you. So let's get that one in there. See, and then you can just kind of a little sprinkle. I use that for larger things. Doesn't necessarily work great on this, but it's alright. All depends on what you want to do. There are no rules, as I always say. There you go. As long as you're having fun in the kitchen, that's what is important. So let's get another one in there. And I'm only putting one at a time here, but you can put in as many as you want, and do a little production line. There we go. Let's get that one out. Many times if I'm doing these on the fly, I might do 2 or 3 and then I just pop them in to the deep fryer. If somebody's waiting, if somebody's hungry. So there we go. Just around like that. And I find it's always better lifting these things out with a utensil of some sort, because if you try to pick them up with your hand, you tend to pull away some of the coating, okay? Hopefully I'm on camera here. Let's move that one a little bit back and that like that. How we doing there? Okay. Maybe what I should do before I deep fry these is zoom in on these. Those are the little stems. I'll do those later. Is maybe just zoom in on the mushroom before it goes into the hot oil, just to show you what it actually looks like, because right now I'm kind of zoomed out and can't really see that well. So there we go. Flip it over. Now this is going to be a really delicious little snack. There we go. Let's get that one out. Alright, I have zoomed in onto the breading bowl. So let's just pop one in there. There we go. Get some of the coating on here. These are Italian breadcrumbs, but you can use anything you want. So there we go. If you don't have breadcrumbs, you're wondering, what can I use? Well, you can just take regular old crackers and put them into a little baggie, get a rolling pin or a can of peas, put them in, just roll on top of the baggie, and they'll just get nicely crushed up, and you can use those. And you can add a little bit of seasoning to the crackers, and away you go. And that's another way of doing it. Alright, so I've finished breading all of the mushrooms, and they're ready for the fryer now. I just want to show them to you a little closer up, like I promised, so you can kind of see what they look like before they're going into the oil. Alright, so my oil is ready. I do have a thermometer in here, right here, and so I've got everything set up. I've got some grocery paper, brown paper bag I just cut up. I'm going to be draining my deep fried mushrooms on there. I've got them ready to go, and I'm going to be putting them into the oil. So what I'm going to do is, just so that you see this a little bit better, I'm going to zoom in on the oil, so you're not actually going to see me scooping them, putting them in, doing this, but you will see me as I approach the oil. So, because I just want you to get a better look at what I'm doing here. Alright, I'm going to start off. I'm going to get a couple in here. And what I like to do is put a timer on for 1 minute and 30 seconds. With mushrooms, one thing that you have to be aware of is that if you cook them much longer than 2 minutes, the mushroom is going to extract so much moisture, you're going to have a very mushy, wet mushroom inside your crisp batter. So try to keep them at about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes maximum when you are actually deep frying. So I'm going to let these go, and I've got my timer set up for 1.5 minutes. We've got about 41 seconds left. So I'll let these go, and I'll be back when they're done. All right, there we go. That's our minute and a half, and I'm going to remove these now. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing these, and I'll be back. I'm going to add the rest of these in. So I'm going to let these go, and I'll be back when they're done. Alrighty. So I've just brought my last deep fried mushrooms out. I will put these on a plate and I'll zoom in and I'll show you the final product. Alright, so here's our final product. My deep fried battered mushrooms. And boy, they look good. I'm doing the video like this so you can actually see how nice and crispy the outside is on the deep fried mushrooms. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and write a comment, and if you try them out, please leave me some feedback on how they turned out. So that's it for this video. I'll see you next time.